The show that people each and every single day wait for. And we are proud to give you nothing but truth, justice, and the Big Sills way. But as we always open up with the moniker, Big Sills. Wow. We have the numbers. We have seen the all 22 of the Eagle game in its entirety versus the Packers. Last night, we will talk more about the 49ers and a complete thrashing of the New York Jets. Are they the best team in the NFL? I don't know. You still have to hang with the champs until someone knocks them off their perch. Kansas City's still the king. But San Francisco put people on notice last night. They thoroughly beat the hell out of that team last night. I mean, and without McCaffrey on the team. I don't even know. What was the dude's name? What was the running back's name that had 147 yards and 28 carries, undrafted? There shows you there. By the way, Brock Purdy, people are waiting for this dude to turn into a pumpkin. And that dude is not turning into a pumpkin. That guy is efficient. He spreads the football around. I mean, he made the right throws. That's the one thing. He's never late on his throws. I mean, that guy is efficient in every single thing he does. And for a football team that I thought there was a lot of noise because of the Ayuk stuff and the Trent Williams stuff, Trent Williams had to go in for an IV last night. The Jets are not bad. That's just a great football team. They thoroughly took out the whooping board and they took the Jets to the woodshed. 49ers are legit. I mean, wait till they get McCaffrey back and you got that other guy that they're going to be able to kind of put Christian McCaffrey on a pitch count. Holy cow. And it's being talked about that McCaffrey might not even be available for this weekend. They don't need him. I'll tell you one thing that Shanahan system does do. It benefits the running back. Whoever is the running back in that Shanahan system, those guys all prosper, man. That was an absolute thrashing last night. It was like 70 plays to 50 or something. I think the Jets are trying to get that Reddick deal done now after last night. Oh, no, Reddick. It is clearly here that Reddick is 1-0 right now on the season, and the Jets are 0-1. He won that last night. Okay? He did. He won that. So he's 1-0 right now. So what will the Jets do? Will they panic? Most likely, because let's face it, they're the Jets. They're the Jets. Hey, Rodgers wasn't horrible last night. Hurts was the worst quarterback in week 1. And we've got numbers to back that up. Jalen Hurts was the worst quarterback in pro football in week 1. Do you know that? He was the worst. I mean, he wasn't that bad last night, Aaron Rodgers. That's a really good defense. No, senor. Let's go to the numbers. According to Pro Football Focus, the worst quarterback for week 1 was Jalen Hurts. 29-8 overall, making him the worst quarterback for week 1 in the NFL. Passing 33-3 grade. Running 41-2. Jalen Hurts was the worst quarterback after week 1. However you look at Pro Football Focus, a lot of people look at it. I don't think it's the Bible, but his grade was the worst. The worst. But these aren't my numbers. These are not my numbers. Okay? These are not my numbers. By the way, good news for the Packers. Looks like 3 to 6 weeks. He has a sprained MCL. Could have been much worse. Still, San Francisco showed last night is that if you have a system and draft players who fit your system, you can be successful. Mason, Purdy fits Shanahan's system. Lamar fits Baltimore's system. Jalen Hurts is not a fit yet. Yeah, because that system doesn't fit him. JM, these are not my numbers. You had the worst rated quarterback in pro football. Worst rated quarterback in pro football. Deal with it. Deal with it. Okay? I did not come up with, I don't even know how they get these numbers. Okay? Man, fuck them grades. Watson and Rodgers played god-awful compared. Hurts was shitty, dude. Stop doing that. 49ers are the NFC champions. Okay? That's a good football team. Don't kid yourself. Come on, man. Hurts is worse than Daniel Jones. Once again, I did not put these grades out. Let's go knee deep into it more here. Don't get mad at me. How about this? The worst rated linebacker in pro football was Nakobe Dean, according to Pro Football Focus. Jalen Carter was even worse at 30. Avonte Maddox at 44.9. And there is Huff at 47.6. These are some of the worst grades for their respected positions after week one. I mean, you got to pick those numbers up defensively if you're going to do anything. And you've got to pick your grades up. Okay? Hold on, Sue. Don't get mad at me, Sue. Wait, I don't even know how they get to these. I have no idea how they got to these numbers. I don't put grades together like this. I don't know. But Pro Football Focus has a lot of people that follow them, and a lot of people use it as a benchmark. I'm convinced PFF is a Cowboy fan. Hey, get this, 215, when I look at them saying that Jalen Hurts was the worst quarterback of week one in the NFL, do I think that? No, I don't think that. Dude, Daniel Jones, get this. Here's what I would say to you about Daniel Jones. Dude, I'm ready to start Drew Lock. I'm convinced I'm ready to start Drew Lock already. Daniel Jones, if you came to me and I was a Giant fan and then you went, hey, Sills, you hear what they're getting ready to do? They're getting ready to start Drew Lock in New York. I go, good. Because Brian Dable needs to save his job. Okay. Do I think Daniel Jones played better than Jalen Hurts? Absolutely not. Do I think Joe Burrow did? No. No, I didn't. I'm just echoing to you what people use as a benchmark that Jalen Hurts was the worst quarterback after week one. And I'm like, really? I don't know. I mean, 200 some odd yards, 70 yards, or 300 yards and I don't know, man. I mean, I know the turnover stunk and the missed throws and a ton of open throws were there. But you go back and watch, there was at least 10 throws he missed. That's an absolute fact. He missed at least 10 throws. That I'm not going to not say. Okay? The first week of regular season football, my top 10 teams and my top 10 quarterbacks will be unveiled today. Xander Krause at 3:30 and Gary Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia will join us at 4:30. Merrill Reese, I can't wait to talk to him. That'll be Wednesday. You know, I think we're going to have to knock on the door of Mark Holmes because the Cowboys had a pretty good week one against the number 1 rated defense in 2023 to Cleveland Browns. So I think we're going to have to make that call to Mark Holmes and get him on with Philly 500. That'll be tomorrow. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. You guys were sensational yesterday. What do you guys make of those numbers that Hurts was the worst quarterback after week 1? Here, let me go down the list. Who do I think was worse than him? Burrow? Dude, I thought Caleb Williams was worse. I thought all the rookie quarterbacks were worse than Hurts. Bryce Young? Sure. Brady was right. The quarterback is being underdeveloped. He is. He is absolutely. Eagles lost their 6th-round pick. Dylan McMahon signed off practice squad by the Rams. Ooh. Damn. I always got to go find a backup center now. See, as you know, I trash Eagles front office, head coach, and Hurts whenever I can. But Hurts should have played preseason, and owner GM have destroyed Hurts with 4 OCs. Not destroyed him, but have stunted his growth and wobbled his growth. Jalen Hurts will never have consistent development in Philadelphia as long as he's a Eagle. Because you know why? The organization's not consistent. They're not consistent in anything they do except being inconsistent. So remember what you got to do. You got to remember that. Hurts' development it's going to be rocky his entire time. Carson Wentz's was. That's just what it is. I mean, like Xander says, you got to learn to deal with that. You just have to learn to deal with it. Hey, look, these grades from PFF, how about I give you an eyeball test? I mean, I thought Geno played better. Mayfield played way better. Allen was spectacular. Mahomes, shit, even Lamar. The problem I had with Lamar, those missed throws in that game against Kansas City, though, I had a problem with, but he played great. He played great, but missed opportunities. Let's see who else played. Golf was effective. Did he play overly great in that Rams game? No, I don't think he did. Purdy was sensational. You know why Purdy was sensational? They weren't sensational numbers, but he goes to the right guy all the time. He does. He just goes to the right time, the right guy. He does it all the time. Still, the numbers say what they say. Hurts must get better. That being said, there were 16 quarterbacks 0-1 with a better grade. What would they want if you asked them? Of course, to be 1-0. But remember something too, Bob. Playing bad is a precursor to what you're going to do for the year. It's not about being 1-0 or 0-1 right now. Not saying that that's not important, Bob. Okay? I'm not saying that that's not important. You want to win. You want as many wins as possible. I'm with you. However, remember, this is about winning the war, not battles, in my opinion. Okay? So I'm more talking in the first half of the season here. How are you looking? That defense has a lot of issues on it. And just to use PFF and how you look at the grades across the bottom here and not across the top, there is no question. You got underperforming players that played in that game 1. Now, is that going to continue into the Atlanta game on Monday night? Probably not. But this does go into, again, the conversation about preseason football. Sirianni said it again. We're going to talk about Nick because Nick had a press conference this morning, and we're going to go through that. But once again, the Philadelphia Eagles think practice is preparing their football team. And I'll make it very clear to you. There's no question the Eagles, they value availability more than they do having you ready for the start of the season. There is no question because that's been their mantra the whole time that I've covered the team. They care more about your availability. And hey, by the way, I'm not saying that that's a wrong thing because I want my guys available. By the way, thank you guys for your super chats. You depress me. Keep up the good work. Angelo sucks. You depress me too with your shitty takes. You usually are a good take guy until like the 4th hour. Week 1 overreactions. If we still have these issues by week 4, then I'll panic. Daniel, great take. And thank you for the super chat. Great take. All teams will look different September versus January except Kansas City. That's such a good take, 215. You're right. Listen, week 1, what did we learn about the NFL? Nothing. We learned nothing. Nothing. Is Burrow going to play? No. Is Mayfield going to continue 147 quarter? No. Okay? No. Is Hurts going to have here? And again, the reason I keep bringing this stat up because it's becoming a trend with him. 18 games, 23 turnovers. That's got to stop. That number right there stops you from being a Super Bowl championship contender. You can have all the great football, but Purdy's not turning the ball over. He's not turning the ball over like that. That's what puts San Francisco in a position like that to be a true Super Bowl contending team. Throws to the right people. By the way, is he sensational? No. Does he have a big arm? No. Does he throw to the right guys? Yes. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is the difference between Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts? What do you think the difference is? What do you think the difference is between those two? Purdy can read defenses. That's a huge part of it. That's a huge part of where I'm going. Hurts is a running back. Crowley is correct, as always. Hurts has to be better. Defense has to be way better. But TBF, they have to been teams that won with shitty. Yes, Crowley. Yes. Pretty smarter. I don't believe that. I think Jalen's an absolutely brilliant quarterback. And I'll tell you one thing that he does have. He's got a lot of fight in him. I mean, that guy's got mental toughness. Angelo's right here. Sileo, you really comparing? Yeah, I'll compare Brock Purdy to Jalen Hurts. What's one thing? Once again, Joe, you're out of your mind. He's not more accomplished than Brock Purdy. He's not. That guy, he's like, what is he now, 20-4? What are you talking about? Been to a Super Bowl, 2 conference title games? The fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Hurts has been so inconsistent the last 18 games, it's insane. Purdy played in the preseason. No, I'm going to tell you what the difference is between the two. Hey, Bob, I'm going to talk to you, okay? Get this. Dick Train thinks that Purdy is a system quarterback. So fucking what, dude, if it wins you a Super Bowl? I'll tell you what, he does awful well in that system. Let me ask you something here. Here's the one thing, in my opinion, that separates Purdy versus Hurts. He's not afraid to throw across the middle of the football field. Hurts is. Hurts doesn't throw across the middle of the field. Not the way Purdy does. And I think that's got a lot to do with Shanahan. Shanahan, no matter who the quarterback is, he throws across the middle of the field. Tighter windows, higher risk of turnover. But he's got guys, according to Dick Train, that has system quarterbacks that throw in the middle of the field. They throw across the middle of the field in San Francisco. The Eagles do not. They don't throw to the middle of the field. Hey, Bob, would you agree with that? The difference between Brock Purdy is Purdy has no fear going across the middle. Hurts does. And again, that has a lot to do with Shanahan. that has a lot to do with how Kyle schemes up his quarterbacks. So to Dick Train's comment, system quarterback, well, one thing that system quarterback does do, they throw across the middle. Hurts does not throw across the middle of the field. Okay? Every game you watch, they all go across the middle. Hurts rarely goes across the middle. Bob, am I right? Most of these guys in here are going to cry. There you go, Jack. Hurts and the Eagles do not want to threaten the middle of the field. It's been that way for 4 years. It was that way Friday night. It was that way Friday night. They don't throw across the middle of the field. I think Jalen rolling to the right a lot had a lot to do with that as well. Absolutely, because he goes to a comfort zone by rolling right. Absolutely. Agreed, but this year Kellen will and has implemented shit across the middle. Matt, I believe that. That's why they're running motion. That's why they're running more motion. Yes, agreed. Okay, get this. Seals, come on, those wide receivers were wide open. Well, that's called scheming up good offenses. I don't know what's going on with the Jets defense. They did that same shit in the first half to Kansas City last year in the Super Bowl. They were doing the same stuff. They were wide open. Okay, they were wide open. Mahomes running the RPO won that Super Bowl. He was, actually, if you think about it, Patrick Mahomes has never played great in any Super Bowl he's won. Absolutely not. There lies the difference. The Eagles, I mean, if there's 30 passes in a game for the Eagles, they'll probably throw across the middle 6 times. Whereas San Francisco will split that up and throw across the middle more than half the time. You know why? Because there's more confusion in crossing routes. Kyle Shanahan believes in crossing routes. So does Andy Reid. Think about this. San Francisco will be exposed. Well, it won't be by you guys because they kick the shit out of you. One thing is for sure. San Francisco is not going to be exposed because San Francisco has a system, and according to Dick Train, has a quarterback that runs that system to a T. They didn't even need the best player on the field playing in that game last night. They did not. They didn't need the best player. How do you think the Eagles would perform if they took A.J. Brown off the field? We saw that in the playoff game. They were atrocious. I mean, what would happen if you took A.J. Brown, say you took Barkley off the field for that Packer game? Hey, let me ask you this. You guys think you would have won that football game last Friday if you didn't have Barkley? And you had Kenny Gainwell? Do you think he would have won that game? I say no. I say no. Here's where I'm at right now. Week 1 proved nothing for anybody, including the Niners. People are going to look way different. Way different. And I agree with many of you. When we get to the bye, we'll know more. Hey, do you guys get, when people start breaking down baseball teams after the first 3 series of the season in April, we all laugh at that, right? Because you really don't know after, 20, 25 games, what you're looking at with a baseball team. And then most of the time, teams kind of get a true sense of where you are by the All-Star break. Well, same shit in football here. That's the same stuff in football. So Jason says, we all know when he rolls right, it's a dead play almost all the time. They got to get that out of there, man. Because get this, Jason. If you and I can see that, Jason, those defensive coordinators have already game planned that. Raheem Morris is already game planning that. But Moore is going to scheme it up better for sure. Huge improvement from 23. I thought I saw the same football player except for the blitzes. I thought he was better against the blitzes. He was. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. Week 1 proves nothing. Simmer down. Fans act like they won the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that either, Flexen. It's not what I'm saying. I just said it. I just said that to you. 49ers, Jets, all these teams, Ravens. Week 1, most of the teams and most of all the really top flight quarterbacks all played like shit, including your guy. What I'm talking to you about is where you need to go. Hey, being 1-0 or 0-1, I'd rather be 1-0. No question about it. No question about it. And like I was saying yesterday, you had a C- effort in 1. Look at the ton of improvement you have. Anybody who says that was a B effort means that you don't have a lot of room for. You got 1 level of improvement, you're not going to win a Super Bowl that way. Last year, Kansas City had tons of room for improvement. They were playing C- football also in the first 9 games. First 9 games, they were getting beat by teams like the Raiders. What happened? By the end of the year, they were playing great football. They looked like a 14-win team. When they got the AFC title game, they looked better than the Ravens. There you go, JM. Hey, JM, will you stop fucking coming up with excuses? Both teams fucking played on the field. My God, coaching, field. What's next? The sniffles? You come up with every fucking excuse there is in football. Go play and win. That's what they did. Holy shit. Whatever. Okay? Whatever. Anybody who thinks that Jalen looked good in that game Friday is wearing Eagle glasses. Anybody who thinks Joe Burrow looked good is absolutely insane. Anybody who thinks Jared Goff was sensational. He was good in moments. I could go down the list of quarterbacks. I thought Tua played really well, especially in the second half of that game against the Jags. I thought he played really well. I thought Derek Carr played well. Caleb Williams stunk. Sam Darnold played well. Believe it or not. I thought Sam Darnold played well. Daniel Jones was brutal. Aaron Rodgers that's not good enough. Okay, I guess. Okay, I guess. Okay, I guess. Get this. Look at this guy. According to PFF, Jalen Carter was one of the worst ranked defensive linemen in the league for week 1. One of the worst. 30 rating. They had him as one of the worst defensive tackles in the NFL over the weekend for week 1. What do you say to that, Lord? You were physical. Get this. Jalen Carter and our defense is physical. They gave up 163 yards in rushing. And he says they're physical. Be objective? I am. Week 1, rather be 1-0 than 0-1, but you don't really know anything. We won't know anything. Hey, and by the way, this thing here with Tyreek Hill, these guys saying he lied, I don't fucking care about whether or not Calais Campbell showed up after, Frank. At the end of the day, police officers should not be acting like that, running security and traffic outside of a football stadium. What do you do when they're not Tyreek Hill? Do you act like that too? Do you throw people to the ground like that? Is that how you do it? We should open his window. Police officers, I was told, and I thought were there to de-escalate, not throw fuel on the fire. That was an ego arrest. I don't care about Tyreek Hill. I care more how those cops act towards citizens in South Dade. Got to be better than that. When you're a cop, you got to be above the law and act it. Got to take things away and calm things down, not escalate them. Okay? Not cool. Not cool. And by the way, they're getting hammered for it, and they should. You don't throw people around like that. He was speeding. Okay. I tell you what, I've been pulled over for speeding before, and I've never been put face down, and I put my window up a few times. You can't act like that. You're a police officer that needs to control him. Those cops shouldn't be on the road like that with that attitude. Why so angry? Why so angry? Why are you angry? If a guy's speeding, really? Hey, I could see if you're beating a child or you've killed animals or like you're wanted for murder or you've robbed a bank. I get it. Speeding? That makes you that angry? Give me a break, guy. Control yourself. Control yourself. Hit the like button. So let's get into what Nick Sirianni had to say. Okay? I had a press conference. And hey, I know. I completely disrespect this right here. I'm with you, Cosmo. Jalen Carter did nothing that was egregious in the injury of Jordan Love. They're out of their mind. They're just upset that their guy got hurt and could hurt their opportunity at being a playoff team or contending for a Super Bowl. That's all they are, is mad. So you know what you do, Cosmo? Do me a favor. As an Eagle fan, do me a favor, okay? Let him spout off like a child, okay? Let him spout off like a child because they'll run out of gas and then they'll realize how stupid their take is, okay? And no question. Let's see here. I'm not going to play politics in this here, and I'm not going to play race baiting. That's exactly what situations like that. And I'm here to talk some football. The Tyreek Hill is going to pit black versus white. I'm talking right versus wrong. I get that he was speeding. I get you give him a ticket. I get he disobeyed a directive. Still, you don't feel something like that. Well, it could have escalated and got out of hand. Because if it wasn't Tyreek Hill, my opinion, those South Florida cops could have shot that guy. It gave him a right to shoot him over speeding. That's my problem. Okay? My concerns are with the South Florida citizens, people I grew up with. No, and I love the cops, the Dade County. I've done tons of shit with them. I'm friends with the chief of police. Mayor Suarez has been on this program. Mayor Suarez, mayor of Miami, has been on our program. I love the guy. Can't act like that. All right. So, we're looking for improvement heading into Game 2 versus Atlanta. See what James says. They had you beat it. They caught him. Hey, James, your boy can't run as much in Washington. You can't have 16 rushing attempts. That's not, like Dan Quinn says, the model they're looking for. Okay? That's not the model they're looking for in Washington if they're going to win games. He's got to be looking more down the field, Jaden Daniels. He can't be looking. And by the way, I think it was his first start. I get it. I think he's going to get better too. So I understand it a little bit. Okay, but he has got to look more down the field if they're going to have a chance to win this year. This Atlanta game is going to be interesting because Atlanta comes off of a game against the Steelers. Steelers go into Atlanta, and I think their defense absolutely took them apart. Do I think Justin Fields did anything special in that football game versus that defense. I think the defense is pretty good. By the way, that Matthew Judon showed up. He was a factor in that game. But there's some holes in that Atlanta defense. That there's going to be an opportunity to run the football, in my opinion, against Atlanta. Hey, Sills, with the NFC being weaker than the AFC, I'm assuming, does Vic have any advantage to get the defense up to par? Are you encouraged? I am encouraged. Or do the Eagles have to score 30? Ace, I'm more encouraged on what I saw. And one more time. One more time here. That's not the guy. Here's the one I wanted. You probably will. I'm more encouraged because I thought they were further along than what I thought. Or they played better against Green Bay than I thought they would. I thought there'd be a ton of yards, which there were. There was 414 yards total offense and 163 on the ground. It's not like there wasn't. I mean, he surrendered 29 points and 414 yards and 163 yards. Did I think that would be around there? Yeah, I did. And by the way, are you going to get that same performance from Zach Bond versus Atlanta? I don't know that. This guy has no history of consistency because he's not really played internal. You really don't know. Okay? David asked me about Mitchell's performance. I thought he was really good. David, he got beat a bunch of times, but I thought he beat people more times. And for his first NFL football game, David, I thought he was really good. I gave him a lot of kudos. He's a player. At least after week 1, he looks pretty good. And quite frankly, Teron Arnold versus Quinyon Mitchell, if I'm being objective, who won week 1? Stafford's a better passer than Love. But I'll take Mitchell's performance over Teron Arnold. I'll take Mitchell over Arnold. Not by a lot. I thought they both showed moments. I thought Arnold was really good in the overtime. But in the first, I thought he got beat. Now, again, Rams have way better receivers than what Green Bay does. And Puka Nacua wasn't out there. Kupp's a great receiver. I don't know about a receiving core, and the quarterback's really good. Still, I mean, if you said push, no, I think Quinyon was better. I think Q, and by the way, I'm going to keep score this year. I think Q got that one, and I think he's 1-0 versus Teron Arnold. So I would go Quinyon Mitchell in week 1 over Teron Arnold. Okay? Yeah, we'll see. As it continues. Seals, what's your solution for the cream putt Devin White? Cut him. You don't need that cancer in your football team. Cut him. He's not an asset on your team. What does Devin White bring to your football team? What does he bring to your team except drama? Cut him. Okay? You don't need that. Especially when you have a football team that fought on Friday night. They fought with mental toughness on Friday. When you watch the film, there's clearly one thing you come away with. They made a ton of mistakes. They gave a ton of yards up, but they fought. They fought more. And get this. Here's one thing that's different than 23. They showed mental toughness against the Packers, where last year in the second half of the season, they showed no mental toughness. So it improved. That's an improvement. That's an improvement mentally. Okay? That's an improvement. Good for them. That's right. Des the Jew? That's right. Love this guy. That's right. Didn't quit. They did not quit. Get this guy. Best corners in the game, definitely an upgrade from last year. You don't have the best corners in the league. Fucking high. Best corners in the league. Where did you come up with that? Where did you come up with that you had the best corners in the league? That receiver from the Packers owned your secondary. Had 140 some odd yards. Best corners in the league. Big Sills, I'm slightly behind. I only hinted about my career a few times here. I am a retired police officer. That cop sounds like an asshole, right? The ticket and let the man. Hey, MSIP, thank you for having one of the hardest jobs in the world and having that stress that you take home and not having and being a family member, because it's the most stressful job. And thank you for protecting the environment that you're placed in, because without police officers, we have chaos in this country. Thank you. I'm not talking about Tyreek Hill. I'm talking about how police officers, they escalated the situation instead of de-escalating. You got a tough enough job as it is. You mean social worker, marriage counselor, all of this stuff. And then you got to be a calming force. You can't escalate shit like that. You just can't. And I admire you for doing that. I mean, believe me, those cops are under massive stress right now. I appreciate you guys more than you know. The police, there's more police departments that follow me on Twitter than you would imagine. Hey, SIP, there's like everywhere from New York police officers, Philly cops do, LA cops, South Florida cops for sure. They all follow us because we have great respect for police. That was not a good high water mark for policing. Okay, it just was not. Let's see here. Seals, you think the Hurts and Cam connection is going to improve? Yes. More reps? I do think that. Tyreek should have just kept the window down. Okay. You pull a guy out of his car, throw him down to the ground and cuff him like that. Then you cuff his boy. Why'd you cuff Calais Campbell? Came to see if his friend needed anything. What was that thing? And by the way, did you hear what the cop said when one of the cops said, that's Tyreek Hill? The cop went like this. Oh, shit. And once he realized it was Tyreek Hill, they knew they were all in trouble. Oh, shit. Let's see what Prince has to say. Sills, the only thing I learned from week 1 is that Kyle Shanahan is him. He makes life easier for Purdy, and he can plug in anyone into that scheme. You know what, though, Prince? Would you not agree this about Shanahan? Lynch finds the people to plug in, though, for the coach. Would you not agree that he finds? I think anybody can play in San Francisco, but they don't want anybody. So would you not agree that, okay, you can sit here and say, well, yeah, he makes life easier and getting, but one thing is for sure, they find the right players. I'm trying to figure this out. Prince, think of this. So you had a 7th round quarterback. You had an undrafted free agent. You had a 2nd rounder in Debo. You had what round did Ayuk go? Does anyone know what round Ayuk went? And they beat you with undrafted guys and 7th rounders. You had 2 7th rounders. You had a 7th round quarterback. You had an undrafted running back. Brandon Ayuk is a second rounder. I didn't remember that he was a second. I know Debo was a 2. Okay, I didn't remember Ayuk. But think about the stars in that game last night. 25th pick. Thank you, Senor. I didn't remember that. But the 2 stars in the game were an undrafted undrafted running back who had 147 yards and a quarterback who went in the 7th round. Holy shit. You talk about finding talent. I mean, that's talent evaluation at its finest. Look at that defense, too. Look at the defense that John Lynch has put together. Hey, Jeremiah, I had forgotten Ayuk was a first rounder. Prince says it's the scheme. You know why, Prince? I can't dispute Prince. Prince, you know why I can't dispute him on this take? Does anybody know why I can't dispute Prince on this take? Why can't I dispute him on this? Do you know why? Great conversation today, guys. We haven't even gotten to the topics yet. I haven't even gotten to my takeaways with Nick's conference this morning. Top 10 teams, top 10 quarterbacks. Why can't I dispute Prince's take here? Sills, it's the scheme. What is Prince's go-to? It's a pretty smart take, actually. Shockingly from him. He can always go like this. Well, Garoppolo did the same shit. Garoppolo did the same shit he's doing. Garoppolo loved going middle too. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo did this, did he not? This is why I can't dispute what Prince is saying here. Jimmy G did this. The last 2 quarterbacks that Kyle Shanahan has had have looked the same. Is he right? He is right. But you have to have a skill set to do that. Okay, you have to have a skill set. Got to be accurate. You don't have to have the strongest arm on the planet. You don't have to. Get this. You know why it's hard for Philadelphia folks to sit there and look at the comparisons with Purdy and Hurts? It's because it's 2 different styles of car. Is Jalen a better athlete? By far. Is Purdy a better system quarterback than Hurts? By far. Is he late on throws? Never. Does he throw to the wrong people? No. Why does Brock Purdy have a couple more turnovers in the passing game than Jalen does? That's not as of late because Hurts has been throwing more. You know why? He throws across the middle of the field. Hurts doesn't. Brock Purdy uses the entire field. Jalen doesn't. Jalen is here. Get this. At least 85% of the time, they're all plays to the numbers and rolling right. This is how defensive coordinators are looking at this, and this is how Raheem Morris is going to game plan him for Monday night. Rolling right to the numbers, 15% across the middle. That's why Barkley was so big in that game against the Packers. He was almost undefensible because he ran and he threw to Saquon Barkley. Barkley catching that pass down the sideline. Let me tell you how important that play is for the next week. You put that film on and you're watching Saquon Barkley play. You know what you're saying? Okay, he leaks out of the backfield. And look at what the 2 wide receivers are doing. And here's Kellen Moore helping the offense more than Jalen Hurts helps the offense. He used the 2 receivers as decoys to get him open. And it was a really good throw down the sideline. Not dismissing that. And it was. But the 2 receivers made that play happen. They were 2 decoys. That's smart and skillful designing of a route in a play by Kellen Moore. Now, will this continue? Yes. The encouraging thing also about Hurts was you go back and you put the numbers to the tape and you watch him versus the blitz. Hey, get this. I thought he played terrible in the game. I thought he was A+ against the blitz in that game against Green Bay. That's a positive. He comes out of that game with two most important things: moving the sticks ahead in his development versus the blitz, and they won. Okay? And they won. That was important. They won. Jonathan goes, Jalen completed passes to 8 different receivers. He didn't spread the ball around and use the middle of the field. No, he didn't. Most of those plays were at the outside numbers. And they were passes, short, intermediate passes. They weren't across the middle. How long? Let's see what here. Akbar. How long are we going to keep this shit up about Jalen getting better after 4 years? How many more years did we say Derek Carr is going to get better? This is who he is. I don't know about that. Lousy footwork. He did have lousy footwork, throwing across your body, poor decision-making. I'm with you, Akbar. But Akbar, Brady got better all the way up until his 25th year. He even said it. He was continuing to develop himself. So if you're saying that this is who he is, I think what you see with Hurts, he just needs to define and help the turnover issue and make smarter plays. And he can't be, you know why why do you guys think that Jalen Hurts is late on throws? Confidence. It's confidence. You're not sure. There's only two, get this, there's only 2 things that cause you to be late on throws: confidence or you don't have the talent. Which is it? And what comes with confidence? More reps. Throwing the ball more. Okay? That's right, JM. It's not automatic. JM. Shockingly, a great take from him. Okay? Wait a minute. Shockingly, another great take. Yes. Steve. But Steve, let me use you. How does that get better? Indecisiveness. Yeah, yes. Jesus criminy. This guy ate his Fruit Loops today. JM. You can literally watch him thinking. Jesus, this guy ate his Fruit Loops today. Yes. What will end that indecisiveness? Playing more in the current system. No, Steve, I don't think it's practice more. Because why? Then you'll have that dumbass ESP, Elliot Spitzer Short, telling you how great he is in practice. I think it's more about game reps. The more he plays. Now, look, do I expect Jalen Hurts to be better in Atlanta? Yeah. I do. Do I expect Kellen Moore to be smarter versus Atlanta? Yes. I want to get Goddard going. I'll tell you something, and Xander's probably going to kill me on this, but I'm going to tell you something that I never thought that I would see at A.J. Brown. I'll tell you what, man, he was willing to give himself up in that game against Green Bay to be decoyed out so others could be open. He was open to that process. Now, he got his numbers. He didn't have am I right when I say this, guys? He didn't have a high volume of catches, but he had high volume in yards, right? I think he's cool with that. I think he's cool with that. But he was open to that. He was open to that. So I loved it. We might get Mike Golick on at 5:30. So let's see if we can do that. So we might get Mike Golick on at 5:30. He had 10 targets. David, did he have 5 catches? I thought it was somewhere around 5 catches. So, guys, you're 1-0. Let's take that away here. Let's talk about the first quarter poll of the season, which is traditionally like the first 4 games. That's the first part of it. And you know what? And I did a poor job here of explaining how I look at the season. I look at the first quarter poll. There's 4 quarter polls in a season. It used to be that number exactly because there were 16 games. Now they've added the 17th game. So I'm still using that metric. But it's 4.5, whatever you want to do, okay? That's how I look at a season. Where are you in the first quarter poll? My assessment of the Packer game was this. You guys played C- football with a ton more room of improvement. That's not a rip. Actually, that's a positive. Some of you go, we played A football. You better hope that's not A football. You better pray to God that's not B+ football because you won't win shit. If that's the best you can do, and that's a little below the best they can do, you ain't winning dick. You better hope it's more where I'm saying. That's a C- effort. And they won. Okay? You better hope there's a shitload more of better football to come. Because last year, you guys were right. Their efforts were B+. They had no room for improvement. That's who they were. They were a B+ team last year. Pretty right. 11 wins. Playoff team. They were a B+ team. You got to be an A team to win a Super. You got to get into the Super Bowl, you have to be an A team. That's not an A. Hey, how many teams played A effort in week 1? None. Oh, wait. Kansas City, of course. Kansas City. Maybe the Cowboys. Maybe the Cowboys. Who else? New Orleans. Then again, New Orleans hasn't shown any propensity to be consistent. That's why you look at the first quarter poll. Jalen Hurts did not suck, JoJo. There were things in that football game that sucked. He did. Here, that's a better assessment of Hurts. Hurts didn't suck. He did things in the game that sucked. Yeah. That's how I look at him. Pro Football Focus said he was the worst quarterback in week 1. That's not how I saw that. Pro Football Focus, because you know why? They look at numbers and they look at metrics. They don't really look on how the guile of the guy, if he's not out there fighting, and if he's not out there where, hey, get this, they had mental toughness in that football game. They played with mental toughness. He sucks, Sills. I'm not there with that. And again, I'm not defending it. That's not how I look at him. Lamar goes, Sills. New Orleans played the Panthers. That's not a New Orleans. See, every time somebody says something like this, that's not a New Orleans Saints fault that the Panthers suck. What you don't want to do in week 1 is play down to your competition. That's the one thing you're looking for your team. The Panthers suck. They put 47 on them. Perfect. That's exactly what you should do. The Panthers suck. You put almost a 50 burger on them. Well, you lived up to what you are. The Saints lived up to their ability. Well, the Panthers aren't good. That's not the Saints' fault. The worst thing that the Saints could have did was win 28-26 because you played down to your competition. As a matter of fact, look, here, holy shit. I don't know what you guys have done today. You guys have been on your Wheaties or on your Fruit Loops or something. A lot of you guys that usually have no takes. I agree with Lord Vaughn. I think the Saints are going to win that game. 49ers look great. By the way, some would go, well, still, the Jets, you know what I mean? It wasn't the 49er thing. They beat the piss out of them last night. Next guy up, they stomped them. Hey, what's Sauce Gardner and them guys doing out of the ball game, too? I mean, I think these guys like to be New York superstars and celebrities in New York. You got to fucking go out and play, guy. You got train wrecked on Monday Night Football. All that hype and all that bullshit about winning the East, you ain't beating Buffalo. You better get out there and win that game this coming weekend. Hey, nothing like the NFL setting the Jets up. Take a look at the Jets schedule the next couple. Hey, somebody do me a favor. Put the next 3 Jets games up or the next 4 Jet games up, and I'll show you the quarterbacks that they're playing. I don't know what the NFL and Park Avenue is doing, but they really want the New York Jets to be a storyline this year because they've lined them up versus some of the worst teams on the planet and some of the worst quarterbacks. Now, it gets tougher, but I think they play the New England Patriots in the next 7 weeks twice. Take a look at who they play. Okay? Take a look at what they are and who they play over the next month and a half. I mean, they play like the guy in Tennessee, the Titans, the Patriots. I mean, the Broncos. They play Bo Nix. So after that game, they play like Will Levis or Levis. They play Jacoby Brissett. Who else? Bo Nix. And then they play Sam Darnold. Wow. Hey, nothing like Park Avenue. You want the Jets to be a storyline all year. You don't think that's by design? I totally think that's by design. Patriots and Broncos and Titans over the next 3 weeks. The Jets could be 3-1. And you look back and go, hey, the Jets are, what a story. And you're like, yeah, well, all right. Sure, okay. Yeah, well, one thing was for sure about Aaron Rodgers last night. He has no wheels. He has no mobility. He can throw the football, but he has no mobility whatsoever. He's like a statue back there now. That is not Aaron Rodgers of 3 years ago. Now, is that by design? Is that week 1? Probably all that. Is that San Francisco's defense? Probably. A little bit of that too. Okay. Probably a little bit of that. But back again to the Eagles here. Pro Football Focus says that Hurts is the worst quarterback in week 1. Did I see that? No. I saw a quarterback that nutted up, that even with all the shitty plays and missed throws, he won a ball game. Jets lose games like that. Bad teams lose games like that. Not good teams. Good teams win shitty performances. 414 yards in total offense surrendered. You were really outrushed by them. I mean, you were. San Francisco was physical last night. San Francisco is more physical of a football team than you. They run the ball, man. And boy, I'll tell you, they run the ball down your throat. They do. They run the ball down your throat. Seals, who played better, Hurts or Love? Jalen. Jalen Hurts did. Absolutely. I thought Jordan Love was all over the place. Actually, I thought it was a poor game plan on defense by Jeff Hafley and also by Matt LaFleur in that game. I was disappointed in their coaching, to say the least. And honestly, I was higher on Arnold in the draft than I was Mitchell, but Mitchell destroyed him this week. If you're keeping count, I am. It wasn't destroyed. Definitely a Mitchell week. Mitchell played great. He did. And he did win week 1. I agree with you. I thought I thought Teron Arnold was better in the overtime against the Rams. I thought he was better in the overtime than his first 3 quarters or 4 quarters that he played against the Rams. And they came back and they were down late. And I thought he played better as the game went on. Okay, but I would definitely say that Quinyon Mitchell wins week 1 for sure. Okay, I would. I don't even believe you said that you would take you give Mitchell a push over Arnold. It wasn't even close in penalties Arnold had. Yeah, well, week 1, guy. Week 1. Let's take a look at the rest of the year. Remember what happened to Jalen? Look at Steve, forgetting history of even a year ago. Your boy Jalen Carter had a slam dunk. Get this, guys. Let me show you how Steve is ahead of the field already. Last year, Jalen Carter had a lead for Rookie of the Year, and nobody was close, and it was miles from Will Anderson. By the end of the year, the guy in Los Angeles played better. The defensive tackle had 9 sacks. And Will Anderson and even the kid in Seattle played better, according to some. That's how bad Jalen Carter played towards the end of the year. And by the way, out of the gate, he was one of the worst rated defensive tackles interior in the league in week 1. So, Steve, hang in there. Hang in there. Katsu, as of now, the Eagles stand no chance against that. That's not true. That's not true. You can't look at September 10th and sit here and go, well, the Eagles can't beat that team. That's not how you look at that. That's not how you look. I don't look at it like that. Now, there's no way, in my opinion, week 1, you would have beat that Niner team with that defense. Okay, the system that they have in San Francisco is superior to when they have with Nathaniel Hackett in New York with Aaron Rodgers. You got a 41-year-old quarterback and Nathaniel Hackett versus Kyle Shanahan and a runner-up to the MVP and Brock Purdy. I mean, plus you have all those weapons. And now you've added another one in this running back that was an undrafted free agent. And wait till they get Ricky Pearsall back because they totally love the guy during the exhibition season. And when they get him back, that'll be another component added to the offense. On September 10th, the Niners are better? Yeah. But October 10th? I don't know. We'll see. That's how this thing works. These things go up and down like your season did a year ago. 10-1, 1-7. Not to that extreme, but that's how an NFL season is. Niners had a 3-game losing streak. Hey, Niner all day, if you're in here, did the Niners have a 3-game losing streak during the season when they lost Debo and Trent, or was it a 2-game losing streak? Okay. They fixed it. Kyle Shanahan had answers. They turned the machine around. Right? They turned the machine around. Niner all day. Let me give you my assessment of the Niners and what I saw last night. Dominant at the point of attack, physical on both sides of the ball. You have currently right now the best tandem of defensive line and offensive line in pro football. The combinations of both, you have the best. And that's what separates you. Detroit is probably second, but you're right there. You and Detroit in the NFC. I don't even think Kansas City has that. Okay, I don't think Kansas City has that. You know, I'm talking about O-line, D-line. There's not a chance anybody in here says that the Eagles have a good front seven when you give up 163 on the ground. So I'd pipe down on that one. You're not in this conversation. You are not in this conversation when we're talking about the two best fronts, the combinations. What teams in the NFL right now have the best combination D-line and O-line? Detroit, 49ers. Kansas City has a pretty good group. I don't know, man. Those might be just the 3 teams. I'm not saying anything that the Dolphins have right now. I'm not. Dolphins have no, in my opinion. The Steelers, Houston, Steelers and Houston. Yeah. 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 They're in there. They're in there. Cowboys, no. I want to see it against the Saints. I want to see it against the Saints. Let me see what they do against the Saints. I'm still not sold they could stop the run. Cleveland didn't have Chubb. I want to see them stop Alvin Kamara. I want to see them stop Alvin Kamara. See here. 49ers are scary. They dominated the Jets. They beat them up, and they beat up their secondary. They completely beat up their secondary. Did you see what Kyle Shanahan said after the game, too? I don't know, Niner all day, if you saw that. But it was very clear. He was asked the question, how serious were you in trading Brandon Ayuk? He goes, very. We were very close to trading away Brandon Ayuk. Okay. Sills, I was disappointed with the field conditions in Brazil, both teams slipping. Cosmo, it's been hammered out. There's no question that the NFL, every time they put these neutral games or these, isn't it funny? Super Bowl neutral site for the Birds and then neutral site in Brazil. What'd they do? Take the field from the Super Bowl in 22 or 23 and transform it over to Brazil. Looked like the same field. Eagles quarterback sucks, dude. No, not there. Not there. Doesn't suck. Got a long way to go. Got a lot of growing. Stop the run. You beat the Niners. Pretty throws in wide open areas. Look at what Swansky says. No tight windows. And he went quarterback on that team. Well, you have to have the talent to do that. You have to have a quarterback that doesn't have late throws. What's your excuse why Hurts was late on 10 throws? What's Jalen Hurts' excuse? Are you trying to tell me that the Green Bay Packers were playing some sort of defensive secondary where one guy had 90 yards catching, the other guy had 120 yards almost catching? Are you trying to tell me you didn't have open windows and Jalen didn't have missed throws? The problem with Swansky is Swansky says he thinks Green Bay played second. that Green Bay played good in the secondary. No, Hurts missed throws. Hurts missed throws in that game. Purdy doesn't miss throws. Anybody can quarterback. That's not true. That's not true. Well, shit, dude. You're supposed to have the third best offensive line in football. You got Barkley. He's still late on throws. They put an undrafted free agent back there, and he goes for 147. And Brock Purdy doesn't miss throws. What's your excuse? He didn't miss any. Let's see here. I need a Sills prediction for the debate tonight. Ugh. Chaos. How about this one? Sig, chaos. Chaos. I might just tune it on just to watch to see what the hell happens. It doesn't matter what happens in that thing tonight. Chaos. Make football. Hell, look at this. This is a great. Hey, can I get a t-shirt made like that? Can I please get a t-shirt? Make football great again. I love it. All right. Hey, Xander Krause is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Gary Cobb is going to join us at 4:30. And potentially Mike Golick is going to join us at 5:30. Hit the like button. By the way, forgot to say it, and I'll say it again to you guys. Love the fact that we're powered by our friends at BetUS. Great opportunity for you guys during this football season. New betting house that we have here with our relationship at JAKIB, and we're proud to have it. Please make sure you do your damnedest to go over and at least check it out. You have to get there. This is the home of Michael Vick. 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits of up to $2K. As I said, it is the home of Michael Vick. Do me a favor and go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. It is the fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sills sent you.